The detective is still on the stand. We're still on direct examination. We have a new court reporter, so we're going to re-swear the witness at this point in time.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
If you could please be seated, restate and respell your name for the record.
Detective John, John, Guillot, Guillot.
Prior to lunch, you testified that you arrested Maxwell Anderson, correct?
That's correct, yes.
Okay. And you identified Maxwell Anderson as being present in the courtroom today, right?
Correct, yes.
I'm going to show you what's been previously received as Exhibit 204. Can you see that up on the screen?
I can, yes.
Okay. The person that's depicted in Exhibit 204, is that the same person that you arrested?
That is the same person that I arrested on April 4th, 2024, yes.
And that is Maxwell Anderson?
That is Maxwell Anderson.
You testified that when he was arrested, when you conducted surveillance on the defendant, you saw him with a backpack, correct?
Correct, yes.
Was that backpack ultimately recovered?
It was, yes.
And the backpack that can be seen in Exhibit 204, is that the same backpack as was recovered?
No, it does not appear so. If you take a look at the actual still shot, it appears to be like a tan camo backpack. The backpack recovered in Mr. Anderson's vehicle was a black backpack.
So let's go back to the traffic stop. You had interaction with him, correct?
I did, yes.
Okay, and when did that begin?
So when we got to the area of South 38th Street and West Lakefield Drive, like I stated before, we activated our emergency lights. We exited out of our vehicle and we approached Mr. Anderson's vehicle. My partner, Detective Blanchard, informed Mr. Anderson for the reason of the traffic stop, to which I then asked Mr. Anderson, where are you heading to? Mr. Anderson responded by saying he was going to the Greenfield Greenfield DMV.
Are you aware of where the Greenfield DMV is located?
Yes, I believe it's 5500 Grange Avenue in Greenfield.
And at this point, you testified you were about a block or a block and a half away from the defendant's house, correct?
That's correct, yes.
Was he traveling in the direction of the Greenfield DMV?
No, I believe that Mr. Anderson was heading to his house.
Can you describe how the defendant appeared during your contact with him while he was still in the car?
Yeah, Mr. Anderson was seated in the driver's seat, physically shaking as he was talking to Detective Blanchard and I, to which point, again, we then asked Mr. Anderson to shut off his vehicle. He does. We asked Mr. Anderson to exit the vehicle. He does.
You testified that you told him what the reason for the traffic stop was, correct?
That's correct, yes.
What did you inform him?
So we kind of did a ruse. We informed him that it was for expired registration, which was a valid traffic stop.
You didn't come out and say you're wanted for the homicide of Sade Robinson?
That's correct, no.
So at the point where he's talking about going to the DMV and physically shaking, he wasn't aware of why you were actually investigating him, correct?
That is correct, yes.
Describe how he was taken into custody.
He was asked to step out of the vehicle. He stepped out of the vehicle. He placed both his hands on top of the roof rack of his SUV. He placed, I believe, his wallet and a cell phone on top of the roof rack, at which point we brought down his hands. We placed his hands behind his back and then secured him in handcuffs.
The wallet and the cell phone, were those items recovered?
They were, yes.
Who recovered those?
Deputy Ethan Stout.
Do you recall what kind of cell phone?
Yes, it was a black, at least black in color, Samsung.
Did Deputy Stout then provide you with those items for you to place on inventory?
That's correct, yes.
Was the vehicle searched at that point?
At that specific point, I don't believe it was, no.
What happened to the vehicle?
A tow company called Ray's Towing responded to the scene, and they took possession of the vehicle, at which point another detective followed Ray's back to our substation, which is located in Wauwatosa. It's a secure substation, and the vehicle was placed in the substation, and investigators later obtained a search warrant for that vehicle.
Where was the defendant then taken?
Mr. Anderson was escorted to a Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office deputy squad car, at which point he was then conveyed to our detective bureau for further processing.
Are you aware of certain demographic information about the defendant?
Yes,
Do you know his date of birth
I
and his
do.
age at the time of the arrest?
yeah, Mr. Anderson's date of birth, I believe, is November 26, 1990, and his date of birth, or pardon me, his age at the arrest was 33 years old.
Are you aware of his height?
Yes,
What was that?
I believe approximately 6'1".
And are you aware of what his weight at the time of arrest was?
Yes, at the time of the arrest, I believe it was around 180 pounds.
What did you do with the phone and wallet?
For the phone, I placed it into a secure evidence locker, which is located at our detective bureau, which is 821 West State Street. And then the wallet, I'm not completely sure. He might have, the wallet might have went with him with his property.
You placed the phone on a specific inventory number, correct?
Correct.
Does 24001539 item 1 sound familiar?
Yes, it does.
And nothing further.
Cross?
Good afternoon, Detective.
Afternoon.
So I just want to rewind back. When you said that you saw Max's car parked in the Victor's parking lot, correct?
Correct.
And you had said that you were on your way to Pizza Shuttle, but you kind of just drove past Victor's, right?
Yeah, we're en route to Pizza Shuttle to conduct further follow-up. When we were en route to Pizza Shuttle, we just drove by Victor's.
Okay. And you could see his vehicle parked in the lot, right?
I could see a black SUV parked in the parking lot, yes.
And so it wasn't like hidden behind like the alleyway behind Victor's, right?
That's correct. It was just in the parking lot.
And his car was there because you knew he had worked there, correct?
I'm not sure why his car was there.
But at the time when you drove by, one of the reasons you drove by is because you were aware that Maxwell Anderson worked at Victor's, correct?
No, it was just more of a coincidence that we drove by.
Okay. And then after you had seen that vehicle, that's when you called other squads or other detectives to kind of set up surveillance, right?
Yeah, after I confirmed the vehicle's license plate and can confirm that license plate listed back to Mr. Anderson, that's when I requested additional detectives to come.
And so you could see the license plate. The license plate hadn't been removed, correct?
That's correct.
Or covered up?
Correct.
And you knew the color of the vehicle when you'd first seen it, right?
That's correct.
And that the color of it was the same color that it was registered with DMV, right?
Correct.
And then I think you said about 15 minutes afterwards, you actually see Max, right?
Correct.
And he's walking just towards his car.
Yep, he's walking eastbound on Juneau Avenue towards his vehicle.
And this area of Milwaukee, this is right by the Metro Market, correct?
That is correct, yes.
Oh, and then if you can travel down Juneau, you hit like Fiserv Forum, correct?
I believe so, yes.
And you said he was just walking, correct? He wasn't running?
Correct, just walking.
He wasn't like looking over his shoulder or making any furtive movements, correct?
Correct.
And he wasn't wearing a mask, correct?
Correct.
Or wasn't trying to disguise himself in any way?
Correct.
And then he gets into his car. You said he sits in there on his phone for maybe 10 minutes and then he drives.
That's correct, yes.
I should clarify. He drives away from Victor's, correct?
Correct.
In the direction of his home.
Correct.
And when you see him walking, from Juneau, you said he's wearing a backpack.
Correct.
And you were aware that he was seen carrying a backpack while on that city bus, so the exhibit that's up on the screen right now?
Correct.
And you'd seen that before all of this happening with you, surveilling him outside Victor's, right?
Could you ask that one more time? I'm sorry.
Had you seen this photo before you'd seen his vehicle at Victor's?
I'm not 100% sure.
Okay. And you said the backpack that, well, now you know, the backpack that he's wearing while he's walking his vehicle at Victor's is different than that backpack, correct?
Correct.
And you had testified that you don't believe this backpack was recovered, the one on the screen.
I'm not sure if that backpack was ever recovered. I just testified the backpack in his vehicle, which was black in color, was recovered.
Oh, okay. And were you involved in any of the searches of Mr. Anderson's vehicle or his house?
I briefly assisted with the search at his residence. I was not part of any search with his vehicle.
Okay. But are you aware that there was 2 different searches conducted at Mr. Anderson's home?
I am aware of that, yes.
And the reason why the police can do sometimes secondary or second searches is because sometimes evidence can be missed.
Correct.
And that's why they did the secondary search, correct?
I'm not sure why they did the secondary search. It wasn't out of my scope.
Okay. But we do know you've seen, at least on 2 different occasions, Mr. Anderson wearing a backpack, right?
Correct.
And sometimes people carry backpacks, to carry belongings inside of them, right?
Fair.
I mean, if you ride the city buses, if you, driving around the city of Milwaukee, you constantly see people with backpacks, right?
I don't know about constantly, but you see a fair share.
Okay. And then after he gets in his car, you said he waits about 10 minutes, and then he drives in the direction of his house, correct?
Correct.
And then you followed behind him?
Correct.
And you were in an unmarked squad car, right?
Correct.
So what does that look like? It doesn't say police on it, does it?
Correct. It's just a typical Ford Fusion. I believe it had a little tint on it. Has interior lights, but no police markings on it.
And so if you were a standard person and you see this vehicle, you wouldn't particularly know it was a police vehicle, correct?
That's fair to say.
I mean, that's kind of the point of an unmarked squad car, right? So people don't know.
Correct, to avoid detection and such.
And you said you activated your lights, correct?
Correct.
So this vehicle does have lights on it, but they're just not easily discernible, right?
Yeah, there's interior lights, and then there's like some hidden lights in the grill portion of the vehicle.
Okay. And as you said, you activate the lights, Mr. Anderson pulls over, right?
Correct.
He doesn't try to flee, correct?
That is correct.
And you sometimes, I'm sure you've been involved in investigations with fleeings, correct?
Correct.
I mean, oftentimes the police pull someone over. If they have something, like drugs in their car, they flee at a high speed away from the police, right?
That happens, yes.
But that didn't happen in this case, correct?
Correct.
And once you made contact with him, he was answering your questions, correct?
Correct.
And he didn't try to run away on foot, correct?
Correct.
He didn't resist arrest, right?
Correct.
He wasn't argumentative.
Correct.
I think you described him, he was cooperative, right?
Cooperative, he complied, yes.
And he wasn't armed?
He was not armed.
And you said that he was visibly shaking, right?
Correct.
And you've seen that in times you've conducted traffic stops, right?
I have, yes.
I mean, because, not everyone's super comfortable with the police, right?
Fair.
And especially if you don't know you're getting pulled over by a police officer, sometimes you can be a little anxious or a little nervous, right?
That's fair.
And you'd said that the reason you told him that you were pulling him over was something about a license plate, or what was it?
His registration being expired, which it actually was.
Okay. And then he had said that he was going to the Greenfield DMV, correct?
That is the response that he gave us, yes.
Okay. And so he gave that response after you told him that's why you had pulled him over.
Correct.
Nothing further.
State? Were there other officers with you at the time of the traffic stop, meaning other squad cars?
Yes.
And were those marked or unmarked?
There was mostly unmarked. I believe that there might have been one marked car, but most of the cars with us were all unmarked.
And when your unmarked squad's lights are activated, is it clear that it's a squad car?
Yeah, it's clear, and it's 360 lighting all around.
And there's a siren too?
There is a siren.
Nothing further.
Defense?
Yes, just briefly, Judge. So Detective, you said that there was multiple squads that kind of had almost surrounded the car after it had been pulled over?
I wouldn't use the word surround. I would say there was multiple unmarked squad cars in the area. Like I testified before, there was a couple unmarked squad cars at Mr. Anderson's residence. There's a couple unmarked squad cars down the block from the traffic stop. And I believe there might have been another unmarked squad car behind our actual unmarked squad car during the traffic stop itself.
Okay, so it's your unmarked squad and also another unmarked squad behind yours, correct?
That's fair to say, yes.
And so multiple officers, correct?
I think in total there was 3, including me.
Okay, and then are you armed when you're on duty?
Yes,
And you were armed at the time that you were making contact with Mr. Anderson, correct?
yes.
I have nothing further.
State?
Nothing further.
Thank you, Detective.
Thanks.
State your next witness.
Deputy Ethan Stout.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
If you could please be seated, state and spell your name for the record.
I am Deputy Ethan Stout, E-T-H-A-N, last name S-T-O-U-D-T.
You a deputy with the Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office?
I am.
How long have you been employed by the Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office?
Approximately 3.5 years.
Were you working in your capacity as a deputy back on April 4th, 2024?
I was.
Did you participate in the arrest of Maxwell Anderson that day?
I did.
Were you present when he was arrested?
I was.
Is he in the courtroom?
Yes.
Could you identify him just for the record?
I'll stipulate that.
All right.
The record will so reflect.
Thank you. Where did this arrest occur?
The arrest occurred in the area of South 38th and Lakeview, if I'm not mistaken.
Were you wearing a body cam at the time of the arrest?
I was.
You were not the individual who made direct contact with Mr. Anderson at the beginning of the traffic stop, correct?
No, I was a backup officer.
So tell us what you did then.
I arrived on scene. I approached the vehicle from the passenger side. I had my body-worn camera that I wear on my chest. I had it activated. And while my partners were speaking with Mr. Anderson on the driver's side of the vehicle, I was, I guess, looking through the window or just providing backup or cover for them from the opposite side of the vehicle.
During the initial contact, you were on the front passenger side of his Hyundai?
That's correct.
At some point, did you go around and assist in taking him into custody?
I did.
While that was occurring, did Mr. Anderson place any items of his on the roof of the car?
Yes.
What items?
As Mr. Anderson exited his vehicle, he had his phone in his left hand and his wallet in his right hand, and my partners took hold of his arms, and as they did, he set his belongings on top of the vehicle.
Did you yourself collect those items?
I did.
Okay. I'm going to show you exhibits 453 and 263.
Have the numbers one more time.
453 and 263.
Thank you.
Starting with 453, do you recognize what that item is?
I do.
What is it?
This is Mr. Anderson's wallet.
Move 453 into evidence.
Any objection?
Fine.
It's received.
And 263, do you recognize what that item is?
I do.
What is that?
This is Mr. Anderson's cell phone.
Those are the actual objects you collected off the roof of his car that he put there?
That is correct.
Move 263 in.
Any objection?
No.
It's received.
I've got on the screen next to you and over here, whatever TV you're more comfortable looking at, Exhibit 449. Do you recognize what this is just on the still frame that I have up here?
I do.
What is this?
This would be my body-worn camera from the date and time of the arrest.
What is that date and time?
That is going to be the year 2024, April 4th, at 1:15, excuse me.
Okay, and what you're doing right now, you're reading up here in the right-hand corner, correct?
Yes.
It's a little hard to see because of the background, but this was 1:17 on April 4th?
Correct.
Okay, I'd move 449 in and ask to publish.
Any objection?
No.
It's received, go ahead.
Playing it from 23 seconds is where I picked up the video.
Any weapons items, sir?
No. What's going on?
Yeah, somebody just radio it.
One 24 dispatch.
Stowe. I'll let you know what's going on. The key to in the ignition?
Yes.
One 24, yeah, one in custody.
Paused it at 3 minutes, 10 seconds.
Is that video on a flash drive or on a CD?
This is a disc, Your Honor,
Okay.
and I'm gonna pick it up at 3 minutes, 22 seconds.
Let's need the paperwork from home, and then I can go to, the DMV.
132 dispatch.
I'm just gonna unbutton this just to search. Okay. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Said nothing on you at all, right? Nothing's gonna poke me, anything like that?
Service 1317 hours. Last name of Banks. First name of Ronald. Middle
Moving forward,
initial
just a
filled out
little
in
bit
Lincoln C16. Copy that. 132 dispatch on it. 132, go ahead. You started told first, please. different street. Go ahead with the plate again. Wisconsin, Adam Mary, Robert, 8083. And I'm sorry, 6 East.
Yeah, we're good.
80.
Paused it at 4 minutes, 52 seconds. What we watched there, Deputy, you assisted in patting him down?
That's correct.
No weapons or anything on him?
There were not.
I have nothing else.
Cross?
1 minute, please.
Okay. Okay, so good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Are you still employed at the Sheriff's Department?
I am.
Okay. You're a deputy or a detective?
I'm a deputy.
And what we've watched here is basically a traffic stop where there's multiple undercover officers that are parked behind Mr. Anderson's car when he was stopped, right?
Yes.
So a fairly sizable operation.
Yes.
And that's because Max had been identified as somebody that you wanted to take into custody, right?
That is correct.
And in fact, there was even a briefing beforehand to discuss that, right?
Correct.
This wasn't a coincidental thing, was it?
It was not.
The whole plan was to conduct surveillance, follow him, and then do a stop before he would ever get to his house, right?
Yes.
And what we saw in your body cam is Mr. Anderson cooperating with law enforcement.
Correct.
And actually, at one point, I heard him ask, what is this all about, or what's happening? Did you hear that?
Yes, I do recall that.
And law enforcement told him it was an expired registration.
Yes.
He was never told during this time that you're a suspect in something much more serious.
At that time, I do not recall hearing that.
Certainly, a person might draw the conclusion that there's something else that they're suspected of when they see all these unmarked squad cars behind them for a traffic stop, right?
Yes.
Nevertheless, Mr. Anderson did not flee.
He did not.
Didn't struggle one bit.
No, he did not.
And in fact, the way he looked when you saw him, he had a hat, a beanie on, or a winter cap on, right?
Yes.
But in terms of how he looked when his picture was shown at the briefing and how he looks at the stop, there was no difference, right?
In his physical appearance, you mean the demeanor that he
Yeah,
had?
physical appearance. He didn't change his physical appearance, right?
No.
No haircut or facial shape, anything different about his appearance, right?
Not that I recall, no.
Were you involved in the search of the vehicle?
I was not, I don't know.
Well, you did obviously recover a phone and a wallet, right?
Correct.
And that wallet, you identified it. It was an exhibit, right?
Yes.
Okay. And you were the one who recovered this, right?
I was.
Did you examine it?
On scene?
Yeah.
No, I don't believe so.
Okay. Well, there was nothing about the blood. The wallet didn't have blood on it that you saw or anything like that, did it?
Not that I recall.
And the cell phone, Mr. Anderson put that on top of his vehicle as well, right?
That's correct.
And certainly as a deputy, you're involved in traffic stops on a regular basis, I would assume, right?
Yes.
You've had certainly you've had situations where the lights go on and they flee.
Yes.
They just floor it and try to get out of there.
Correct, yes.
Or even once they're stopped, they open the door and try to run from the scene of the stop, right?
Yes.
So we could call this essentially a normal traffic stop with a cooperative person, right?
Yes.
And were you involved in you also did other things in this case, including going to Victor's and speaking with people that work there, right?
That's correct.
And you learned that Mr. Anderson worked at Victor's, right?
Correct.
He was a bartender there for a number of years, right?
Yes.
Or and you talked to his manager even, didn't you, Jose Hernandez?
That's correct.
And In fact, one of the things that you did there was you even wanted to access their camera system at Victor's to study that, right?
That's correct.
And you even served a subpoena on the, would you call it a restaurant, a bar, what would you call it?
Bar, nightclub?
You served a subpoena on the bar and nightclub, right?
Yes.
And essentially what you got from that was a couple of videos that show that Max Anderson and Sade have had contact there, right?
Yes.
Nothing about that showed any threatening behavior by Mr. Anderson
No.
or something suspicious between the two of them that you would identify?
No.
You interviewed other, well, a big part of your job actually was the whole Victor side of it, wasn't it? Going there and talking to people and pulling the videos?
Yes, I talked to multiple people from Victor's.
And the reason for that is because you want to try to figure out if there's something that points to Mr. Anderson as having committed this crime, right?
In the grand scheme of things, yes.
And all that revealed was that Mr. Anderson and Sade Robinson had interacted with each other and obviously knew each other, right?
Yes.
Were you involved in any side of the case to get footage from Twisted Fisherman or Duke's on Water Street? Did you involve yourself in any of that?
I did not.
Obviously, you went and conducted neighborhood surveillance canvases where you pulled video footage on April 4th from various houses, right?
Reviewed potential footage, yes.
And what was the point of that?
From what location specifically?
Well, I saw that you did that in the Gordon Place area.
Sure. That specific area, I believe the purpose was to look for footage of a vehicle or anything unusual that happened during a certain time frame that had been pointed out to me and fellow deputies.
The East Concordia, North Gordon Place area?
Yes.
Is that near Mr. Anderson's house?
No, it is not.
Just a different area?
Yes.
And part of what you do in general, though, is you can look for things like Ring doorbell videos and other such things to try to piece cases together, right?
Yes.
You also conducted a search of a park, right? A Pleasant Valley Park?
Yes.
Nothing noteworthy there, right?
Correct, nothing.
No body parts or human remains?
No.
Okay, that's all.
State?
Nothing else.
Thank you, Deputy.
Thank you.
State your next witness.
Brian Conti,